Okay, so yesterday's meeting, it came up, the whole Cross
hmm
Bayou deal. What can you tell us about what you guys discussed?
We didn't really get into it except for Councilman Bradford talking about it.
Um,
Ask me something else.
right.
We were holding our breath for you there, but go ahead. No, go ahead.
You thought I was pausing to say something. No, but really, it was he was reiterating that this is about that he feels that people are misinformed and that this piece of legislation that's in front of us is to get more information. But it still looks like if all of that information is satisfied, that they can move forward from there. So I'm just still kind of I don't know.
I have made the point all along, given the initial list of I don't want to say demands, let's say requests for land, for tax breaks, for environmental cleanup made by the GDC folks. My sort of
Yeah.
question has been all along, well, is are they willing to negotiate? Is are these requests, these demands, are they carved in stone? But according to Councilman Fuller, according to Councilman Bradford, that's exactly what he wants to do. Let's negotiate. Let's see what's the best deal we can get for the city. Is that the way you see it?
Um, how do you mean the way I see it? And I see a lot of things, and I'm apprehensive about the whole thing in general. Um,
Which is nothing new, pardon
we
me. You
don't
have been,
own
to
all
use
the
your word,
listen. For
apprehensive for
me,
some
this comes
time.
down to capacity. For me, this comes down to our capacity to do a thing. So, if our job as a government is primarily to look out for the health, safety, and welfare, and for me, health, safety, and welfare means public safety, sure, infrastructure, sure. Um, we have a lot of issues in both of those places. And when we look at a deal like this, it makes me feel that administratively, our infrastructure is not at the capacity to entertain some of this. And more importantly, we're not real estate people. We're government. So ideally, deals like this would be happening within the private sector, and where government can assist, we assist. Now, something that we should be doing is looking for ways to incentivize or make it easier and more attractive for people to be in downtown so that we can ignite more activity in that area.
What's your biggest concern about this Cross Bayou project? What is the number one thing that makes you very skeptical?
Let's talk about 1A through D. We don't own all of the property. If we're going to do something, we need to own all the property that we're trying to trade. And if we trade it, we need to trade it for monetary value. And we need to know when we do that, if we can do that, since we're looking at bond money. See, that's the part I'm not supposed to talk about. See what you just did? Thanks for nothing. Now, the next thing is the cleanup. Cleanup of an area like that is extremely complicated. Everyone wants to go back and forth over the liability, who's going to be liable for it. Beyond that, the amount of lead down there, and if people do their research about lead mitigation, it is complicated, it is delicate. And if we want people to live and work and play down there, that cleanup has to go right. We can't have dust particles resettling or getting into the air next to where we're saying we want people to live. Also, the water down there. And here's the deal. We have water assets that rival the hills and mountains in other areas as far as tourism for outdoorsy people. And we are squandering those opportunities like, I don't even know. I don't even have an analogy for how bad we're squandering that opportunity. And we're doing it all in the name of trying to have the next big shiny whatever. If we did own that property, the citizens back in 1996 voted that they wanted it for a green space. We may feel that we have plenty of green space right now, and if we turned any part of that into green space, we probably need to trade off some of the green space we've got somewhere else in the city. There's bigger conversations that we haven't had, but more than that, my big issue is we don't have the wherewithal to answer some of these questions on our own. So if we want to know about, like, well, is this a bond? If this bond issue, if this is something that we have to think about because of where the money is coming from, and if we have to put that money back, maybe that should be a one day within our legal department question that we ask and answer and move on to the next question. Right now, no question gets answered in a day. And I don't fault our legal department. This is not the wheelhouse that they were hired to do. Under those circumstances, don't you think that we need to pump up who we are if this is the direction we want to go in? Mm-hmm. We ain't ready. We ain't ready to play in those kinds of big leagues.
LeVette, let me ask you this, and I said this earlier, and I really wasn't joking. I really feel like roadkill in this community. I really feel like we get promised these big things, and then things don't deliver. I'll start back with, I'm way older than you, so I can go back to the Glebermans. They owe us $1 million plus. The Red River District was going to be this grandiose deal that everybody was going to flock to. It was going to change our city. Elio Motors, we were going to have these.
Again,
I could go on and on.
And when government.
Yeah.
Let's go back to what I said earlier. Government needs to do what government do and let private enterprise do what private enterprise do. One thing that we could do that makes downtown more attractive is we need to quit expanding our dang boundaries. Why would I want to go infill in an expensive old building downtown when the city has made it so easy for me to build green? To build on green space, I mean.
Yeah.
Like, we're not looking at the easy fixes we can make that make things more attractive. We do need to work with our state legislature for incentives that are in tax credits and things that might make it a little bit more palatable to come in and ignite a spark in our downtown area. What we don't need to do is act like we are real estate developers and programmers that are trying to do everything ourselves, throwing festivals, renting out properties to people. That is not what we need to do. What we need to be doing is, instead of trying to help the small business get into the cheaper property, we need to be creating the zoning or removing the zoning that makes it so dang hard for them to do anything.